From the news cottage of the Brush Communications Network, Brush FM 94.7 MHz, this is Brush News Watch. 45 minutes of accurate, balanced, and concise news forming about Liberia, Africa, and our global village. Today is Friday, July 30th, 2021. The story is top in News Watch. Officer of the Liberia National Police allegedly beats a driver known as Ali Sheriff to death. A man who was Junior Mompey allegedly set ablaze a 13-bedroom house in Sodiwan community, leaving over 25 people homeless. Police in Vonjama arrest 7 persons, including 6 males and 1 female, for blocking the entrance of the Lofa County administrative seat in Vonjama City. And Kenya signed deals with the UK that will allow its unemployed nurses and other medics to work in the UK. And James Yagerson fought by front this morning. But first, the latest from the news center with Jeremiah Marva. Good morning, Jeremiah.
Good morning, James, and good morning to all. Officers of the Liberia National Police have reported beating a driver known as Aliu Sheriff to death. The incident happened around the Ghana Belton Thursday morning, and the driver was pronounced dead upon arrival at a local health center. According to police spokesman Moses Tata, the police officers were on a routine operation checking on cars that had not roadworthy when the shot happened. A reporter who arrived on the scene after the incident narrated that the locals on the scene were shot and explained that the deceased driver car was pulled over and impounded, and the head of the officers, only known as Sakor, requested some money before the car be released. When other cars that were impounded got released, the driver took exception and got in trouble with the police officers, which led to his demise. Meanwhile, the police spokesman has asked family members of the deceased to remain kind and that justice will be served, and that the police officers in question are undergoing interrogation by the Professional Standard Division of the Liberia National Police. The police is also calling on eyewitnesses who were on the scene to come up front and give first-hand explanation to aid the police investigation. A man known as Junior Wampia has allegedly set ablaze a 13-bedroom house in Soniwan community, Monserrate County, leaving over 25 people homeless. The incident occurred Wednesday night when the occupants were asleep. The caretaker of the 13-bedroom house, whose fiancé allegedly set the house ablaze, told journalists that prior to the incident, her fiancé had constantly accused her of having love affair with some male customer who visit her business every time. According to her, Junior Wampia escaped immediately on Wednesday night when he picked the 13-bedroom house on fire and is currently on the run. Residents, including men, women, and children, are calling on national government and philanthropists for urgent assistance. Citizens of Nema County Electoral District 1 are calling on the National Elections Commission to give them an update on the conduct of the district's representative impending by-election. The citizens speaking to our Nema County correspondent said, since the election of their representative Jeremiah Cone to the House of Senate, their district has remained vacant. As a result, those things that the district needs to benefit are all missing. Citizens lamented that since the National Election Commission announced a set date of the conduct of the by-election in the country, they are yet to be updated, something they said have led to some of the aspirants who earlier on expressed interest in the election to back up. The citizens used the occasion to appeal to the National Election Commission to speedily come up with set date for the conduct of the by-election. Police in Bonjama have arrested 7 persons, including 6 males and 1 female, for blocking the entrance of the Lofa County administrative seat in Bonjama City. The arrest of the 7 pro-Samukai protesters on Thursday came as a result of their action to lock the administrative building, thereby preventing the superintendent and other government land ministries and agencies from having access to their respective offices in executing government's function. It all started on Thursday morning. Bonjoma City with some supporters and sympathizers of Samukai taking the grounds of the Lofa County Administrative Compound with placards bearing different political wordings calling for the certification of Senator-elect Brani Samukai. Demonstration continued in Foya and Zaza simultaneously with the ex-defense minister supporter carrying in their hands posters and singing revolutionary songs as well as chanting political slogans calling on the government for their political will to be built. In Bonjaman, the protest turned south as several of the activists were arrested by the police and are expected to be charged and found to court as confirmed by the county police commander William Johnson. A 7-year-old boy identified as Roland Barr has died after falling into a septic tank in Sukakim Fan community, Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. Some of the community's dwellers told our Grand Bassa County correspondent that the septic tank has been uncovered and abandoned by months before the incident occurred. The little boy was discovered by some community dwellers hours after the incident occurred. They added that responsibility for maintenance of the septic tank rests with the property owner. The Catholic Diocese of Cape Palmas had described as compromising and endangering the lives of citizens and incalculable loss of goods and properties. The continuous bad road condition along the main corridors leading to southeastern Liberia. The Catholic Diocese of Cape Palmas comprises of 5 counties in the southeast, including Grand Gila, Grand Cru, River G, Sando, and Maryland counties. The statement issues in Monrovia under the caption a statement of concern on the challenges, difficulties, and dangers of traveling into and out of the southeastern region of Liberia. The diocese pointed out that the prevailing condition of bad roads in the area poses serious challenges, difficulty, and danger for the movement of people and goods. The statement was issued under the signature of the Most Reverend Andrew Jaggi Canley, Bishop of the Cape Palmas, who is the administrative head of the diocese. The chair indicates that citizens and others are compelled to risk their lives while traveling to southeastern Liberia due to bad road conditions. It made specific reference to the recent shipwreck on the waters in Maryland County. On July 17th, the locally made Nico Abanka vessel sank in Maryland County while carrying out 28 passengers. Few persons have been found dead, while several others have been rescued by the Liberia Coast Guard with support from Sea Shepherd. The wrecked vessel, which was reportedly grounded and declared unfit by the Liberian government through the Liberian Maritime Authority, surrendered, left Monrovia and sealed to Maryland County. Who order or lifted the stay order on the sealing of the vessel remains unknown up to the present, and the government has since launched an investigation. The United Nations Development Program National Program Coordinator Abraham Tumbe has called on members of the Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining Working Group to exert more efforts in tackling the challenges faced by the sector for a sustainable development. Making a section resonating in Buchanan and Grand Bassa County during a one-day working session that was supported by the Society for Conservation of Nature, Liberia funding from the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund. Mr. Toomey said the Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining Working Group have been a platform for dialogues and engagement aimed at finding ways to solve some critical issues related to the environment. The ASM is a platform that brings together stakeholders from different institutions, the Ministry of Mines and Energy, Environmental Protection Agency of Liberia, Safer Society Organization, the Independent Human Rights Commission, others are the Ministry of Gender, Children Protection, and the Ministry of Justice. Together, they all can carve a roadmap and suitable way to ensure that artisanal mining can be sustained in the long term. To me, however, disclosed that even though the working group has been effective to a certain extent, There has not been an annual or biannual meeting. This, he said, birthed the need for them to convene for the sole purpose of settling of a secretariat which will be charged with the responsibility to plan quarterly or biannual meetings as well as monitoring to seek full implementation of their projects. Giving an opening statement of the meeting, Assistant Minister of Mines of the Ministry of Assistant Minister of Mine at the Ministry of Mines and Energy Emmanuel Swen expressed gratification over the progress being made by the ASM through their partnership with the Ministry of Mines and Energy and other land ministries and agencies, as well as non-governmental environmental institutions. Former defeated Representative candidate of District 2, Monserrate County, Nimble Doyen, has expressed gratitude in the people of Christian community for their continual support in promoting unity through sports within the district. Bishop Doyen made a session when he served as guest during the grand final of a more-long community tournament hosted by the leaders of the Christian community and added that more tournaments are to be hosted in the community. Nimble Doyen doing a presentation of certificates and trophy presented token of little over 10,000 Liberian dollars, lamented that more will be done. It can be referenced that Bishop Doyle lost to incumbent Jimmy Smith in the 2017 representative and presidential elections and is a current member of the collaborative political party, specifically the Alternative National Congress. For his part, the community chairman Modwa gave a thank the participating communities for partaking in the month-long community tournament. Gave a for the time Bishop Doyle for accepting the invite and stressed that the community will use the occasion as a means to remember, describing him as a friend of the community. Meanwhile, Block C was crowned champions after defeating Block E in an entertaining showpiece at the Peters Sport pitch in the Christian community area this week. And finally, on the news stem, a group of Liberian and international non-governmental organizations has vehemently expressed their opposition to the Senate's recommendation calling on the president to set up a transitional justice commission. In an open letter to the House of Representatives through Speaker Bob Fatimas, the groups committed to ensuring justice for victims of serious international crimes perpetrated during the Liberia Civil War called on the lower house not to endorse the proposal. The organizations include the Civil Society Human Rights Advocacy Platform of Liberia, Independent Human Rights Investigators, Global Justice Research Project, Secretariat for Establishment of War Crime Court in Liberia, Transitional Justice Working Group of Liberia, Liberia Massacre and Survivor Association, Human Rights Watch, Civitas Massman, the Advocate for Human Rights, and Center for Justice and Accountability. Instead, the group called on the government to seek international support for the establishment of a war crime court to prosecute individuals that committed heinous crimes during Liberia's brutal civil war, which claimed the lives of estimated 750,000 people. And that's it for the news bulletin. It's back to you, James Jackerson Fokwa, for continuation of the news program.
Congratulations to colleague Jeremiah Morba for bringing us the news bulletin here on News Watch this morning. That is Joshua. We begin lifting our top stories. A man known as Junior Wampi has allegedly set ablaze a 13-bedroom house in the Sodiwe community, Monserrate County, leaving over 25 people homeless. The incident occurred Wednesday night when the occupants were asleep. The caretaker of the 13-bedroom house, whose fiancé allegedly set the house ablaze, told journalists that prior to the incident, her fiancé had constantly accused her of having love affair with some of the male customers who visit her business center. Well, those are voices of victims, who were victimized as a result of a 13-bedroom house that was set ablaze by the man known as John Wampia, of course. That particular situation have left over 25% homeless. They hear them there calling on the government of Liberia, including philanthropist organization, to come to their rescue. Police in Vonjama have arrested 7 persons, including 6 males and 1 female, for blocking the entrance of the Lofa County administrative seat in Vonjama City. The arrest of the 7 pro-Samuka protesters on Thursday came as a result of the action to lock the administrative building, thereby preventing the CBT and other government line ministries and agencies from having access to their respective offices in the executing government's function. Rush FM reporter Tabor B. Sewa Fast Invest Comprehensive Report.
Police in Bonjama have arrested 7 persons, including 6 males and 1 female, for blocking the entrance of Lofa County administrative seat in Bonjama City. The arrest of the 7 pro-Samukai protesters on Thursday came as a result of their action to lock the administrative building, thereby preventing the superintendent and other government land ministries from having access to their respective offices in executing government's function. It all started on Thursday morning in Vanderman City with some supporters and sympathizers of Samukai taking the grounds of the Lofa County administrative compound with placards bearing different political wordings calling for the certification of the Senator-elect Brennan Jeffrey Samukai. The demonstration continued in Fuya and Zozo simultaneously on Thursday morning, with the ex-defense minister's supporters carrying in their hands posters and singing revolutionary songs as chanting political slogans calling on the government for their political will to be filled. Unconfirmed report also reaching us says the protesters allegedly beat on Fuya District Commissioner James T. Dogger while trying to converse with the certificate Samukai campaigners. Police in Fuya has promised to launch an investigation into the alleged beating of Commissioner Doga in order to bring the alleged perpetrator to justice. But it was different in Zozo, where citizens from Zozo and Sarajevo districts peacefully congregated at the administrative compound to express their dissatisfaction about the delay in the certification of their leader, who is presently battling legal action at the Supreme Court of Liberia. He is also leader of the marshal called on the government of Liberia through the office of the district commissioner and the Zozo magisterial court to speedily enforce their leaders what they call his full right to be able to represent the people of Lofa at the Liberia Senate. The protesters across the county were seen with placards bearing inscriptions like Lofa County lead for Senator-elect for the representation in the House of Senate. Our leader will lead him. Lofa County Zozo Esai says we lead our Senator-elect Honorable Brennan J. Samukai. Lofa County, we are in it to the end. Samukai is our senator for Lofa, no matter what the case may be. He is our senator. We are in it to the end. We want our senator-elect Honorable Brennan J. Samukai, no matter what the case may be. We are tired with the injustice different placards were carried. The campaigners all lose marks, threatening to be more radical in the next plan of action in August if the government of Liberia failed to certificate Samukai as senator of Lofa County just like their previous ultimatum, which was if no. Lofa County Superintendent William Kamba, in an exclusive interview with journalists at his office in Bonjama, condemned the act of the Samogai protester towards his office. According to Superintendent Kamba, the demonstrators are in the run for questioning the central administration in Lofa about Samogai certification, but because it is not in the previous because it is not in their purview to intervene as the matter is.
Well, of course, that's Brush FM reporter Tapo Sewa development this morning, and of course, he ain't there compiling that report on the protesters there in Lofa County. I mean, they were protesting, on grounds that their senator-elect Brandon Samukai should be certificated. The chief of staff in the offices of District 2 Mosrado County lawmakers expressed optimism over his boss Jimmy Smith's second term representative bid, says his boss will be re-elected comes 2023 in the district. Alfred Topa narrated that the people of District 2 are resolved in sophisticating re-electing Honorable Smith for the district seat. Topa lamented that the electors will not vote in 2023 based on flyers and t-shirts, noting they will vote on the basis of tangibles. COS further described oppositions in the district as fly-by-night politicians who cannot afford to control what they do, emphasizing that the oppositions are bound to fall. We have an asset.
Of District 2, and I have no doubt from all indications, as I speak to you right now, the way that you have or smell bad forgetting, he will die in the chair. That way, you have but again, a democracy. So when it's not one of them, it's a no-go zone. The people of District 2 should not be taken for granted. Truly, the people of District 2 are sophisticated than you think. They will not go for jollof rice. They will not go for flyers. People will not go for jollof rice. They will not go for flyers. They will not go for t-shirts. They will not go for symbol. They will go on the basis of their tangible. I'm not here to call somebody. I'm not here to give somebody popularity. Somebody, this guy is involved with business. He gave loan, and the loan he tells you clearly, not allowing a politician in our district who want to become a leader. He gave you loan and tells you clearly the loan not the money not for me. Now some of my friends send it from overseas, they present to me. I gave him the loan for 10%. You gotta bring the money back. It's a now operator loan. So he's a businessman. So you cannot bring him to the fray. So all those news you are going there off by them, politicians. Someone who, if it's smiling those person who cannot even control what they're doing, they abandon their moral and live in the district. Someone who say the moral is away, the moral increasing, and I can person bring to national leadership. Amen. The best person that you bless in your life are your parent. When you neglect your parent, you hate your parent, the base of just superstitious belief, then you are bound to fall.
Well, the voice of Alfred Topa, of course, is the chief of office staff in the offices of District 2 Representative Jimmy Smith. Of course, here in there expressing optimism over his board representative bid to retain the district's seat comes 2023. Citizens of Yola in Nima County are calling on government to speedily investigate the death of a 17-year-old boy. According to our correspondent, the ball got drawn after the July 26, 2021 independence celebration in a river which borders between Bonk and Nima counties. Our correspondent says since the death of the boy, his corpse has been floating over the river is yet to be buried, something he said. The citizens want investigation before they can have the boy buried. Daddy Cody David is our Bonk County correspondent, and he now files in this report.
On the level, the people
of recent from the 43rd of July was reported in Lima County, facilitated the border area between Ponce and Lima, or in La Sana, where citizens of Rio woke up on the 22nd of July after the celebration celebration and saw police in the water of boy age 17, and yes, I mean, was from the water after the black registration only identified Melvin. So it is now the water is still there, and they are also calling on national government to the natural national police to investigate what they're doing to get in that red light and water. And citizens calling on the police and other regulatory authorities to see as whether we can have that or removed from the very graphic crossing point. I think that's in this way, Borderland, Gulf, and Lima County.
Well, that's our Bond County correspondent, Daddy Cody David, with that report. Citizens of Lima County Electoral District Number 1 are calling on the National Elections Commission to give them update on the conduct of the district's representative impending by-election. The citizens speaking to our Lima County correspondent says since the election of their representative, Honorable Jeremiah Cone, to the House of Senate, their district has remained vacant. As a result, those things the district needs to benefit are all missing. The citizens lamented that since the National Elections Commission announced a set date of the conduct of the by-elections in the country, they are yet to be updated. Something is said have led to some of the aspirants who either on express interest in the election to back off. The citizens used the occasion to appeal to the National Elections Commission to speedily come out with a set date for the conduct of the by-election. Augustine Dines, our Lima County correspondent, and he has the rest of this development.
The district, the representative of the district remains vacant for as they can. And so, one department does not have the governmental representative by its own house of the national legislature. So these are being permanently residents of the district in recent days. And they are calling the government of the National Commission to assist them as to when the by-election will be conducted. As we see, most of those developers, express interest to contest with the by-election are quickly, so they are abandon their ambition and their choice, because it's not how the resources to keep spending, usually like politics, whenever you declare to contest for public elections, like US, you don't have money, and every program you have, you always spend invitation to do it, but put them in the more reading program. So what they have here, we're pressing to the contest, so they have labels, the ambition, and also opportunity, and the two opportunities here, two potential ones, that two training, that two innovations for now, everybody looks up to, Professor Simon, now Senior, and the potential crowd, businessmen. So thank you for the National Election Commission. It's just to inform the people like you, especially residents of station in one Lima County, as to when they will get a by-election and to be aware. The Constitution of Brazil has totally determined that in addition to frequently resolution caused by death, activation, expulsion, or election, the presiding officer is presented to the financial condition. And the financial condition should have
Yeah.
And for the election was canceled, the constitutional conference after that. And up to now, the election is yet to be conducted.
Well, that's the voice of our Lima County correspondent, Augustine Down. Of course, hearing the citizens of Electoral District Number 1 in Lima County are calling on the National Elections Commission to update them on the impending by-election to take place in that part of the country. Well, if you just joined us, you're indeed listening to Newswatch on the Brush Communications Network, Brush FM 94.7 MHz. 45 minutes of accurate, balanced, and concise news from about Liberia, Africa, and elsewhere. Story stopping Newswatch this morning. Officer of the Liberia National Police have allegedly beaten a driver known as Ali Sharif to death. A man known as Junior Wampi has allegedly set ablaze a 13-bedroom house in Soniwen community, leaving over 25 people homeless. A group of Liberians and international non-government organizations have vehemently expressed their opposition to the Senate recommendations calling on the president to set up a transitional justice commission. And Kenya has signed a deal with the UK that will allow its unemployed nurses and other medics to work in the United Kingdom. At this juncture, we take a break to be back with our foreign news.
Good morning and welcome to the Foreign News. I'm Jeremiah Moba. Kenya has signed a deal with the UK that will allow its unemployed nurses and other medics to work in the UK. Britain Minister Sadi Javi and Kenya's Labour Minister Simon Jagu signed the agreement on the third day of President Uhuru Kenyatta's visit to London. The scheme is open to Kenyan health workers who are qualified but unemployed, ensuring the process is managed for Kenya's benefit, according to a statement from the British government. This arrangement was requested by Kenya and should allow her professional and manager to benefit from the special way through the UK immigration system before returning to work in Kenya have setup. The exact details should be confirmed before the end of October. The Medics Union in Kenya has in recent years raised concern about the high rate of unemployment among doctors and nurses in the country. The deal with the UK will appeal to many care workers here as they have time and again decry poor working conditions, poor pay, and even having to work for months without pay. Crackdown on corruption. Tunisian President Kais has indicated on Sunday. President said acted on an article in the Constitution that gave his temporary exceptional powers in times of crisis, but his political opponent described the move as a constitutional coup. The president's plan to tackle austere cases of corruption were mentioned during a meeting with the head of the country's main business union. He said hundreds of business people had stolen nearly 5 billion in state funds through the fraud and unpaid taxes. President Saab says he would offer conditional amnesty to these business people in exchange for their investment in development projects chosen by citizen-based regional commission. Ghana's information minister says politicians have no intention of changing its law on sexuality after an anti-gay bill was submitted to Parliament. Kojo Opon Nkrumah told BBC Radio, "If you don't know postcards that the country's current laws on matter of sexuality were adequate. Ghana's criminal code allows what is described as unnatural, cannot nourish, or does not explicitly mention sexuality people." Last week, the draft of an anti-gay bill was submitted to Parliament. It posed a 10-year jail sentence for people who promoted sexuality right through mainstream or social media, including expressing sympathy or offering social or medical support. Zimbabwe's economy is predicted to grow this year by 7.8%, which is slightly more than had been earlier forecast. Reviewing the government budget, Finance Minister Mahmoud Nukub attributed to the group to, among other things, good rainfall, which led to a strong agricultural season. Year-on-year inflation had dipped from a staggering 837.5% in July 2020 to 56% 12 months later. While the government appears to be winning its war against inflation, this figure remains higher than the single-digit rate President Emerson Mnangagwa inherited when he ousted his predecessor Robert Mugabe in 2017 with the help of the military. Another says the government is moving in the right direction, but most Zimbabweans have not seen any improvement in their living standard. The Consumer Council of Zimbabwe says an average family needs 470 a month to survive. The average public school teacher earns just under 300 more adult future exchange rate. And that's it for the foreign development. It's back to you, James Jackinson, for continuation of the program.
Well, congratulations to colleague Jeremiah Boba for bringing us the foreign development here on News Watch. This morning, we take an immediate crossover to the Passion of Life Sports Desk. Well, then Ezekiel Manimulo is posted to bringing us the sporting development from the water sports this morning, as we have heard. There are lots of sporting and interesting sporting development coming. I will take an immediate crossover to Ezekiel Manimulo for the Passion. Good morning, Ezekiel.
Good morning, James, and welcome to the Passion of Life Sports. We pick up our first development where the Labrador Football Association filmed a more valuable player, Angeline care of F. Angel and BYC to Nathaniel Campbell will be departing Liberia in a few days for the United States of America after they were selected by the Euro Football Academy and the Kenya Sports Management, as both players were breathing in the recently held trial in March at the Anthony Tubman Stadium. According to the CEO of the Sports Management, Arnold Kennedy, he is impressed by the work of everyone involved in moving the group forward. While in the United States, Kier and Campbell will blend soccer with education at the Campbellville University, but beginning with Division One schooling. On last week, the Sport Management successfully sent player Abu Kamara and Bangali Sisi to continue their footballing career in the United States at the Houston Baptist School. Romanian third-tier club FC Somerset Dash has secured the services of Spanish-born Liberian goalkeeper Boston Wani Du Souza. The 24-year-old joins the club as free agent after spending the 2020 league season in Spain with CD Benicalem. Boston was born in Palma, Majorca, to a Liberian father and a Brazilian mother, and received first call up to the Lone Star in November 2016. He made his international debut in Liberia 3-0 away loss to the Warriors of Zimbabwe in the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying round 1 on 11 June 2017 in Harare. The showstopper was in action against the Devils of Congo Brazzaville, where the red, white, and blue was defeated 3-1. And at the Olympia, world number 1 men's tennis player Novak Djokovic is through to the semi-final of the Tokyo Olympic after eliminating Japanese Kei Nishikori in straight set 6-2, 6-love. The Serbian now faces a tough test against Germany's Alexander Zverev on Friday in the men's single at about 5 p.m. local time. Both players have met on 8 occasions as the Serb records at least 6 wins while Zverev tables 2. On the other hand, Spain's Pablo Carreño Busta defeated Russian number 1 and world number 2 Dani Medvedev to set up a semi-final clash against Karen Khachanov of Russia. And it's over to you for the continuation of the broad new watch.
Well, thank you so much, Ezekiel Manimulo, for bringing us the sporting development from the water sports. And finally, we lift our development to leave you on this presentation. Among defeated Representative Kennedy of District 2 Mosrado County Bishop Nimlan Doyen has expressed gratitude in the people of Christian community for their continuous support in promoting unity through sports within the district. Bishop Doyen made a session when he served as guest during the grand finale of a month-long community tournament hosted by leaders of the Christian community, and added that more tournaments are to be hosted in the community. Nimlan Doyen, during the presentation of certificates and trophies, presented a token of little over 10,000 Liberian dollars, lamenting that more will be done.
And I believe I will be here to see it starting, and I will follow it to the end. I want to thank all of you for asking me to come and present the certificates. Thank you. But
Before I present the certificate, I have to put something in a little plate. Wow, wow. It's a small thing. Yes. You know that we have many children in the little house with the two communities. Yes. And so as you go, you just leave small thing behind. By the time we come, and I will come and spend a day with you here. Yes. So I brought a small token of $10,000 to put in your car. The real government. Yes, they gave back to several 10,000. Because Christian community is a community I love. The very name, Christian community, impresses me every time. So I'm sorry I was not here, but I believe I'm with you in spirit in everything you do here. So I'm now ready to present the certificates to all of you. Thank you.
Well, Nayland Doyle is a defeated representative candidate of electoral district number 2. Yeah, they're hearing the citizens for their continuous support through sports. And so that development, as I will leave you on today's edition of Bros News Watch. 45 minutes of news, views, comments, and analysis from the Bao Liberia, Africa, and elsewhere. Bros News Watch returns 8 p.m. with more captivating stories. Before we go, let's recap today's top stories. Officer of the Liberia National Police alleged the beats on the driver known as Aliu Sheriff to death. A man known as Junior Wampi allegedly set ablaze a 13-bedroom house in Sodiwe community, leaving over 25 people homeless. Police in Vanjaman arrest 7 persons, including 6 males and 1 female, for blocking the entrance of Lofa County Administrative Seat in Vanjaman City. And Kenya signed deals with the UK and will allow its unemployed nurses and other medics to work in the UK. Thanks for listening. Jeremiah Mova brought us our news bulletin and presented the foreign news. Ezekiel Menimuna was here with the Passion of Last Post. Thanks to our reporters and correspondents for making this edition of Newswatch a success. On the cameras was Joshua Wright, and of course, I'm James Yekesin Fopa, our anchored. Good morning.